We are not getting into the technical aspect of our classes, and today we'll uh, starting with understanding light and exposure. We're starting with understanding light and exposure. From our previous class, we defined light as, have you ever defined light? We've not defined light. So, but we told us that photography is a combination of two Greek words, which are photo and graph. Photo meaning light, and that is just it. Light is light. Well, by definition, we can say it's a kind of invisible electromagnetic ray or stuff like that from science definition. But we are not here for science terms and definition like that. So we are just here to understand what light means in photography and as it relates to exposure. So for us to understand perfectly light, for set these settings now, we have this overhead light, we have this lamp here, it's illuminating the whole scene. The light itself is not visible, but we can see a reflection of it, and that is you sitting in front of me sitting in front of you. That is what your eyes is seeing. You're only seeing the reflection of light. That is why you can tell the color of clothes I'm wearing and the my physical look, my structure. Everything in front of you is a reflection of the light that is falling against an object that reflects back to your eyes. Then your eyes captured it, and your brain can interpret it into black, white, and several other colors. So when we talk about light, we are simply referring to illumination, something that um, brightens up a place for you to see things that in it. We are simply referring to illumination, how well this room is illuminated. So if it is too bright, you can say that that room is overexposed, or it is too there is too much illumination. If it is too dark, then we can say that we don't have enough illumination, which is underexposed or underexposure. So when it is too bright, we have overexposure. When it is too dark, we have underexposure. When it stays in between and everything looks perfect, then we have what we call normal exposure, so to say. But there's one thing in photography, you cannot really say which one is bad and which one is good. Depends on the kind of art that you're trying to create. Are you getting it now? Depends on the kind of art that you're trying to create. So we can say that you have too bright exposure, and the exposure will have meaning to what you are trying to create. And we can say that we have too dark exposure, and that kind of exposure will be too good for what you're trying to create. So there is practically no measure as to say which one is bad and which one is not good. But in relation to whatever you are doing, you yourself will know, okay, this image is good or it is bad. That is it. But before we go deeply into that, let's first try to understand from where we are coming when it comes to light and exposure. Now, in the olden days, before the advent of these days photography that we have today, what people normally do before was to um, cast shadow of an object. Let's say this is an object that is standing here, and this is our sunlight, which is our natural light, sunlight, and then you have a kind of board here, or probably a wall. So the shadow of this person, as the sun beams on this person, shadow of this person will now be traced on this wall. That is the advent of photography. So somebody will be here, somebody will stand here with charcoal or any other medium and start tracing the shadow that this sunlight cast on the wall. So the person would now trace out the image. So the stronger the sun, the harder the shadow. If the sun is shining very bright, the shadow cast will also be very bright. So around 12 noon, you know that the shadow that will be casted around 12 p.m. till, let's say, 5 p.m. It's not the same one as the one you have around 5 p.m. till 7 p.m. Are you getting it now? To 7 p.m. And it's not the same thing that you have between, let's say, 6 a.m. till around 11 a.m. So it gives various degree of intensity. Are you getting it now? So the harder the shadow, the harder the sun, or the brighter the sun, the harder the shadow. When the sun is just illuminating and is so soft, then there won't be enough shadow to cast. So this kind of method will be difficult to do when there is no sunshine. Are you getting it now? So there's limitation to what they can do with this one. Now another limitation is that, okay, I if I see something that I cannot move to be placed on a particular medium to be drawn on, but probably it is bigger than the medium I have, then I can't be able to use this kind of method. So this method have a lot of limitations because apart from human beings that is movable, that you can move around and then place in front of any object, then cast the sunlight on them, then trace the shadow, you cannot bring a lot of objects in front of any medium just to trace. So um, this kind of medium has its limitation during that time, but it was an effective means of making a lot of drawings during those periods. So after then, they moved from what is known as this kind of method to what is now known as pinhole pinhole camera. So it was this advent, this one that was later developed into a pinhole camera. Now, a pinhole camera is like this. It's kind of box. Don't mind my drawing. So kind of here, and then you have a pinhole here, a small hole here. Now, at the back of this hole, then you have a kind of medium that is placed here. You can call that medium a photo paper or photographic film that is placed at the back of it. Now, what they do now is that, let's say there's a tree in front of them here that they want to capture. So this pinhole camera will be projected towards this. And then there's a kind of small lens, where we can call it small lens. It's not glass, it's not anything, it's just this opening. So by the time it falls here, and by the time it enters through this hole and it casts on the, you have the opposite, the face of it at the other side, and then it forms a kind of image on this film that they have at the back of the pinhole camera. So this was developed after the first method I showed to you now. So this was later developed. So pinhole camera was like the first type of medium that gives us the opportunity of what we have today. This is the proper advent of camera. So now this hole is called aperture. This small hole that they put here, it is what they refer to as aperture. That is the aperture. Now what they do is that this the film at the back of it here is mostly electromagnetic film. So when it is exposed to light, when it is exposed to light, it reacts um, to the intensity and shadows of the light that it captures. Now, inside this pinhole camera is usually dark. There's no the box is enclosed. It's an enclosed box without allowing light to enter it at all. It's an enclosed box. It's just a small hole. So what they do is that they will open this hole for a certain amount of time. Are you getting it now? They will project the camera just like we point camera these days to a particular something that we want to capture. They will point it towards that thing, and by the time they point it towards it, they will now open the hole, let's say for 5 minutes. They will now close it back. So by the time they open it, that is what we refer to as exposure. By the time you open it, you open the hole is normally closed because you don't allow light to enter into the pinhole camera. By the time you allow light to enter into it, you are already projecting something um against the photographic film that is placed behind the camera. I get it now. Now, it is usually closed. By the time they open it, that opening is called exposure. They are now exposing the photographic film inside it to light. That's where the word exposure comes from. Exposure, expose it, open it. So another word we can use for exposure is to open. So for the photography, we don't use open, we use expose. So expose the pinhole to light. By the time you expose it to light, then light comes into the camera and what? It forms the image on the photographic film that is placed inside the pinhole camera. Now, the amount of time by which we open it, the amount of time by which we open it is called the exposure time or the shutter time or the shutter speed. Are you getting it now? The amount of time by which we open it, let's say we open it for 5 seconds, we open it for 50 seconds, or we open it for 5 minutes. That time is called the shutter speed. Yes, shutter speed is called the shutter speed. That is the amount of time or the speed at which we open it and close it back. The speed at which we open it and then we close it back. That is what we refer to as shutter speed. The hole that is in front of the um, camera is called the aperture. Aperture. So you have the shutter speed and then you have the aperture. You get to understand these two guys later. So you can see from where we are coming from now. Before, all they need to do is just to cast the shadow the sun is making on a wall, and then they trace it out, variably a white surface. But now they develop another form of it, just a small box with a hole in it, and the hole is now projected towards a particular object, and they now open it. They open it for a certain amount of time and close it back. So that opening and closing is called the exposure, but the amount of time by which it is exposed, it is now referred to as the shutter speed. It is referred to as the shutter speed. So once you understand how to use these two guys, shutter speed and aperture, you are good to go with anything. But before you understand it, you have to be you have to pay a lot of attention. Yeah, let me put it that way. You have to pay a lot of attention to understanding it. So that is the advent of um, photography from where we are coming, and then we have this now. Now, this was now started developing through a lot of people that developed the uh, opportunity. Now, before I told you that the other method has its own limitation because a lot of big images or large objects cannot be placed in front of small medium just to trace out like mountains and stuff like that. You cannot do that. Now this also has its own limitation. because the aperture is just a small hole. The hole they made is just a small hole. So there's no way to control the light, the amount of light that can come into the camera. Once you open it, it's just the amount of light that comes into the camera, and that's it. You get it now. So once you open the pinhole is fixed. You cannot adjust it. You cannot expand it. So it is fixed. There's no you cannot control the amount of light. So if it is dark, it is dark. If it is bright, it is bright. Unlike today's cameras, then you have the opportunity to control um the what's it called, the aperture. You can now control the aperture. You can widen it or narrow it. I get it now. So then it doesn't have a lens, so it is difficult to project objects. So you can only see one thing, just anything you place in front of it, but you cannot like adequately project that object because you are just opening a simple box and closing it. So you are only at the liberty of the light that falls into the camera. But with the advent of lens, you can now project the light appropriately into the camera. What is inside the lens? Converging lens glasses. You did science, you know what converging lenses are. Abi? So that's all is that we have inside the lens. We have a lot of converging lens glasses. So they put a lot of concave, like 3, 4, depending on the kind of the range of the lens that you are using. They put a lot of concave lenses here just to direct the light properly, just to propagate the light properly towards or to inside the recording medium inside the camera. So if something is in front of the lens like this one can properly converge it so that it travels straight and now hits the sensor or the photographic film behind the camera. So you now have the camera body around here like this, so attached to the lens, and when it is attached to the lens, then it directs the light to the photographic film or the image sensor that is behind the camera for it to be recorded. Are you getting it now? So in summary, what we have is that you have a pinhole camera that is exposed. You have a cover over it like this. You have a cover over it, and then once it is you have an object in front of it like this, you open the cover for it to see this, and it projects towards the inside the camera, and then behind it you have a film. You have a film behind the camera like this, which receives the light that is coming into the camera. You have the you have it like that. Then the amount of time by which you open this lens, this aperture, let me put it that way, this hole, the amount of time you open the hole is called shutter speed, SS. The wideness of the hole is called the aperture. Are you getting it now? So these two guys are the most important guys we'll be talking about in everything we'll be talking about in exposure. They are the most important people, and shutter speed. They are the most important people when it comes to real photography. So, any question about that? Do you understand it? Okay. I mentioned it. The essence of opening it and closing it, this is it, is for you to expose it. The photographic film that is inside the pinhole must not be exposed to light. Once you expose it to light, it means that you are recording something. Are you getting it now? It means that you are recording something. The photographic film is an electromagnetic film that once it is exposed to light, a reaction must occur. Are you getting it now? There must be a reaction immediately you expose it to light. So if it is not closed, it means that this is in perpetual recording. And once you expose it for too long, what you have is overexposed image. Overexposed image. Everything will become white. It will be too bright because you exposed it for too long. What you're supposed to open for, let's say, 5 minutes, so that you all would just want to say, propagate this thing you are seeing in front of you. Now, you didn't close it at the appropriate time. You leave it for too long, then everything will fall inside of it and it will become overexposed. And if you close it too fast, the reaction wouldn't have occurred to the level that it will see everything in front of it and then it will become dark. That is what we call underexposed or underexposure. Get it now? That is the essence of the closing and opening in front of the camera. So if someone wants to take a yeah. This mirror, what's the time range? Yes. Well, it doesn't you can't determine the time range. It depends on number one, available light. Number one, that's it. Available light. But predominantly, that's it. Available light. If the room is too bright, or let's say in a very sunny day, like 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. that we mentioned the other time, 12 p.m. to 4 p.m., you know it's always very sunny at that time. Then it will be the time you need here will be smaller compared to the time you will need around 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. or 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Do you get it now? So predominantly it is just the availability of light that will determine the amount of time you open or close the aperture. So if it is in a very sunny day now and you open it for too long, then you know that you are already shooting yourself, you have overexposed image. And if it is at the evening and the sun is already gone and you are now opening it for too fast, for a very fast amount of time, then you are shooting yourself to have underexposed image. Do you get it now? So it's either you have predominantly what will determine the amount of time you open it when it comes to using pinhole camera of those days is available light. You get it now? But these days, the opening and closing of the shutter speed or the shutter now, the opening and closing of the shutter these days depends on two things now. To control the amount of light, available light, and to freeze moments. So these are the two things we use it to do now. To control the available light and to freeze the moment. Show you. So this is to tell you that without light in photography you can do nothing. So your problem wa bẹ̀rẹ̀ lọ́wọ́ ẹ pé what is the primary medium of photography? What will you tell them? Simply light. Because even darkness is light. Yes, in photography darkness is light. Um, there are three segments, or let me put it this way: we have when you in every photograph you have the highlight, you have the midtone, and then you have the shadows. So these are the three things that form every images. The most brighter part of the image is called the highlights. The darkest part of the image or the dark part of the image is called the shadows. Then one that stays in between is called the midtone. So if you completely eliminate shadow or you completely eliminate darkness in photography, then there won't be any form. There won't be any form at all. Everything will just be white. The reason why I could know that you have a kind of red round face now is because I can see the shadow casting on your nose, casting under your chin and everywhere. So if the light is just projecting on you now and there is no shadow at all, then there won't be any form. Kò ní sí form rárá. Everything will just be flat, flat image. But for me to be able to see the length and the length and breadth of you, then I need shadows. Because when light is coming from here, if light is coming from this place will have brightness, this place will have darkness. This place will have some brightness, this place will have some darkness. That will is what will give me the sense of depth of that image. You get it now? If you put a box in front of this light now, the side that receive the light will become bright. The side that it does not receive the light will become dark. You get it now? The overhead, you will see a gradient of light over the head. Where that is the place that is closer to the light will have more light than the place that is not close to the light. So that is what will give you the sense of depth of the image. You can also create it is a three-dimensional object. I get it now. So that is tell you that without shadow, you don't have any photography at all. There's no amount of light you will use that will dispel shadow completely. If you like, bring 1,000 lights into the scene, you cannot dispel every form of shadow because by the time you do this, you have completely flat image and that is without form. So shadow or darkness in photography is still a form of light to us. So when they ask you what is the um, primary medium in photography, your primary medium is light because whatever you want to do, you are dealing with light. Everything you are recording is light. So the only thing is just that you are recording various degrees of light in just one image. You are recording various degrees of light in just one image. That is what you are doing. Now, so um, there are various properties of light. We'll get to it, but at least let me just mention them. So light can vary in intensity, color, and direction, and quality. Four things. We'll get to understand them one by one later. But there are four properties of light that is essential that there's no way you define light that you do not have all the four properties there, which is number one, intensity, color, direction, and the quality.